네, 다음 세션은 기술이 문화예술을 만날 때라는 주제로 진행이 됩니다. 네, 혹시 제가 처음 인사드릴 때 관전 포인트에 대해서 말씀했는데 혹시 기억하시나요? 네, 이번 세션은 조금 더 특별하게 시작을 해볼 건데요. 기술과 문화예술의 만남, 바로 가상의 공간에서 그려내는 VR 드로잉 퍼포먼스입니다. 강을 모티브로 물결을 따라서 한 아세안 11개국의 문화를 탐험하는 내용이라고 하는데요. 가상의 공간으로 함께 가보시죠. 가상의 공간에서 펼쳐진 신비로운 VR 퍼포먼스를 만나보셨습니다. 강에서 뻗어나간 줄기들이 마치 한 아세안이 펼쳐갈 역동적인 미래처럼 느껴졌는데요. 여러분 어떠셨나요? 2021 한-아세안 문화혁신포럼을 통해 우리가 상상했던 일들이 현실이 되길 바라면서 두 번째 세션의 문을 열어보겠습니다. 두 번째 세션의 주제는 기술이 문화예술을 만날 때로 문화기술 산업을 대표하는 아세안 기업의 CEO분들과 함께합니다. 기술과 문화가 융합된 새로운 산업을 개척하신 분들의 실질적인 경험과 지식과 노하우를 들을 수 있는 기회로 기대하셔도 좋습니다. 네, 그럼 빠르게 소개해드리겠습니다. 세션 2의 첫 번째 발표는 싱가포르 최초 가상현실 플랫폼 운영자이자 또 AR과 VR 스타트업 IMMERSIVELY의 대표 Lionel Chok 님께서 수고해 주시겠습니다.
Hello, my name is Lionel, and thank you very much again for having me as part of your summit. Please allow me to share more about what I'm going to present today. I currently run Immersively, a XR development company based in Singapore. This year, we have very exciting news to share. We were acquired by TOFS Technologies. We actually develop custom bespoke applications across many businesses and verticals, from marketing, arts, culture, training, and so on and so forth. And we develop these applications across different platforms and technologies like AR, VR, MR, 360 content. Having been acquired by TOFS Technologies, we now have offices and presence in Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam, and Thailand. But of course, my sharing today really comes from my background in various portfolios and profiles that I have undertaken over the years. And I would like to share with you some of these observations and also my presentation based on these different backgrounds and experiences. In Singapore specifically, tech and art and culture is actually everywhere. And especially with the pandemic, we can see that it's gone a lot digital and online. And that hasn't really stopped the development of arts and culture with XR in terms of where the pandemic is. So we saw a lot of VR galleries, we saw a lot of VR works, and we saw a lot of gamification and digital works that have really opened up. Particularly for examples such as the National Heritage Board, they have gone ahead over this period of 18 months to actually commission and also appoint more and more creators to explore creations in AR, VR, and even games as well. Now, we ourselves were the benefits of this, so we actually got commissioned over the past 18 months and even as early as 2018 in terms of VR installation and also AR works as well. In 2019, we have the opportunity and chance to actually be appointed by the Arts Council here in Singapore to actually stage a 10-day event at the location based in Singapore where we saw new artists try to create new works in XR for the very first time. And this was actually on-site where they're able to come and try out the AR, VR itself. During that event itself, there are a lot of people that are able to come and experience physical explorations of different works in XR, as you can see. And the whole experience, where it's very tactile and personal, was very different than what we experience now. But of course, with COVID-19, not everything has been reduced to nothing. Actually, a lot more digital and online explorations in XR has emerged. And this was something that I also shared last year as well, as I tried to speak to more creators to look into how they can digitize their works. And we can see some of these actually taking place in Singapore, and more so from different government bodies and also different technologies as well, such as AI, and with our National Art Council actually opening up a tech and arts lab to talk about and innovate with regards to arts and technology. Another cultural institution known as the National Gallery of Singapore also organized online sessions as well and introduced over 100 attendees to talk about where XR is, what is the state of XR, and how they can actually explore their different arts and culture ideas in XR. So by and large, we see a lot of these still taking place and happening as well. But I think more importantly, I want to share with you some of these updates, from such an article or report that I've extracted. A few things that we can take note of is moving forward, we can see a lot of events are now going into hybrid, where we have a small group of physical audience, and also the event or the installation is online for those who are online to experience. We also start to see a lot of the galleries starting to let the creators know that their works need to be publicized and online via social media for people to come to know about their works as well. And we also see that a lot more works, for example, in this article by Singapore Art Week, SAW, that actually saw artworks that's being taken out from the gallery into bus stops, car parks, and really outdoor venues. And more importantly, more creators are starting to explore and continue to push forward to explore the art in AR, VR. Another observation that I've noticed is the fact that this is not just an occurrence that's happening in Singapore, but we also see this everywhere around the world, like in Cannes and in online museums, and even game engines like Steam. And most recently, we're talking about games and the metaverse being different explorations for what creators can do as well. So we should need to keep an eye out for this, because the world is really becoming smaller, where we can access a lot of these new works online. So to end off a quick presentation here, just to mention, a lot more arts and tech and culture explorations have now emerged for new forms of art that's coming up, not just in XR, game art, virtual worlds, virtual beings, even crypto as well as NFT, as you might be aware of, and how creators are no longer afraid of combining different tech, such as AI and IoT, into their works. So in a good way, the world is now your stage, and what we used to think about in terms of exploring the world in the sense of coming to a physical space is no longer the case. Where creators need to think about is how to actually expand your world, your works, so that it can be seen by the world. Yep, that's my short presentation. I hope you benefited much from it. My name is Lionel Chok, and again, love to connect with all of you here listening to this presentation and then this summit. Thanks so much.
네, 말씀 감사합니다. 크리에이터들은 이제 더 이상 기술을 결합하는 것에 대해서 두려워하지 않는다. 그리고 또한 세상은 이제 크리에이터들의 무대다라는 말씀이 정말 감동적이었고 또 깊게 와닿습니다. 세션 2의 두 번째 발표는 필리핀의 Tropical Futures Institute의 대표입니다. 바로 크리스토퍼 퍼스너 님께서 준비해 주셨는데요. Tropical Futures Institute는 필리핀을 중심으로 한 아티스트 그룹이고요. 싱크탱크와 유사한 종합 스튜디오를 포지셔닝해서 다양한 활동을 하고 있습니다. 또 최근에는 필리핀, 두바이, 싱가포르 아트페어에서 메타버스와 NFT, 뉴 미디어 세션 등의 큐레이팅에도 참여를 했다고 합니다. 오늘은 문화예술과 미술 시장의 성장을 위한 메타버스와 기술의 중요성에 대해서 말씀해 주신다고 합니다. 그럼 크리스토퍼 퍼스너님을 지금 바로 만나보겠습니다.
Hey everyone, I'm Chris Fussner from the Tropical Futures Institute, based out of Cebu, Philippines. Thank you for inviting me to present and speak about some of the work I've been doing in the Philippines and in the metaverse at large. First off, I'm basically a multidisciplinary designer and researcher, and I started working on Tropical Futures Institute around 4 to 5 years ago as a side project, and it's only really been the last few years we've really started to go more full-time. The team is myself, Sayoka, and AG, and it's positioned as a multidisciplinary studio slash think tank of sorts. And primarily, prior to the pandemic, we had been doing a number of localized events in the Philippines, specifically Cebu, Philippines. So we hosted a residency program. We used to do a bunch of in-gallery events with this partner gallery in Cebu, primarily targeted towards new media, zine fest, parties, music. It was a very transdisciplinary, flat sort of curatorial direction that we took on with the gallery there. and we would have a yearly residency with friends and friends of friends of TFI. And more recently, we started working with artists as sort of an artist management studio, and going to art fairs such as Art Dubai, Art Fair Philippines, Art Singapore, C-Focus, and other activities include curatorial. This last year, we had the honor of curating the NFT section of Art Fair Philippines, as well as a new media section of National Gallery. We were a response curator. And also we produce objects and different sort of, I guess, artifacts. So today I'm going to be sharing about a recent show we curated and co-curated thanks to Art Fair Philippines alongside Colin Goltra and Gabby Dizon. And it was titled Welcome to the Metaverse. And the primary objective of this section that was part of the digital art fair of Art Fair Philippines was to explore NFTs, Web3, and the metaverse at large, and particularly related to crypto, though, related to NFTs. And yeah, it came at a very opportune time. I mean, like when we started the project, it was very much a fringe thing, and it wasn't as trendy as the year led up. And you know, the months beforehand, things really started to explode, and we expanded the program and really just covered several core pillars of looking at you know, people that had been working with NFTs and smart contracts as artists, to blue chip participants, to the local community in the Philippines that is part of the NFT community, as well as looking at the more new wave of crypto art and NFT participants. It's an important moment just because I think, you know, outside of all the digital aesthetics and the hype and the prices, you know, the purpose of the section was to really show the door towards, you know, hopefully the next iteration of the internet, which is titled Web3. And, you know, it was extremely pertinent to be, you know, having Art Fair Philippines be one of the first art fairs to have an NFT and Metaverse Web3 section. And as that really coincides with the growing digital literacy and accessibility to internet in the Philippines. And that's with growing, you know, growing internet penetration in terms of more people having access to smartphones, to data becoming cheaper. And you know, as a lot of people might already know, we're labeled as the social media capital of the world, with the highest, I think, per capita usage of Facebook. So, you know, although that sounds just, you know, perhaps a little dystopic in regards to the highest social media usage, it does also point towards like a growing, you know, data literacy and web literacy sort of demographic, which is really ushering in this, they call it the golden demographic, where the majority of the population is younger. And, you know, this sort of youthful composition of the population alongside what is called the Iron Triangle, which is like e-commerce, financial tools, and logistics, can really create the next economic revolution in the Philippines in a domestic sense, which is amazing. And I think one of the proponents of that is the app Kumu, alongside Gcash and a few other Web2 startups. So Kumu is a streaming platform that encourages creators to sing, dance, talk, have sort of conversation panels, to karaoke, and that's sort of like bridging in this like new wave of creator-based media. Gcash is a payments platform that's really taken off after COVID, and we have this amazing logistical battle between all these companies trying to secure shipping and logistic routes within the Philippines. So you combine this with the seed of Web3, where we have companies like Yield Deal Games, which is en route to become one of the fastest unicorns in Southeast Asia and within the Philippines. You have other guilds and Web3 companies such as BlueMex and Blockchain Space, and a lot of these companies are really paving the way for like the next space for the internet, and whether it's gaming through NFTs and through play to earn, or people creating digital art and getting compensated appropriately for it. There's definitely a moment, and it's within this sort of time that we see this watershed sort of transition, and this phased transition into a more digitized economy in the Philippines, and that is definitely represented in some of the cultural output. Also to mention, Outplay Games, as well as other platforms that are really leading the way and creating sort of new avenues for people to interact with like the digital economy, whether it's through creator platforms or through crypto led digital currency decentralized initiatives. And alongside of that, we also have a plethora of like a burgeoning new media and digital art scene. Not to mention the independent film and cinema industry in the Philippines is already extremely strong internationally. But from within, we have a rising class of new media digital artists using techniques from like virtual reality to creating like internet-based environments, such as Club Matryoshka, which creates these like Minecraft levels where they host these parties where they have hundreds of people from all around the world attend their party, to artists like Cologne doing more generative, adversarial neural network art, and then some of the older guard, like such as James Clark, doing more new media video and sort of analog electronic installations. And all these things combined are really pointing towards a new future for the Philippines, but as well as for Southeast Asia, in terms of really having this our digital moment where we have this trifecta of e-commerce, finance, logistics, but also culture. And I think culture is a huge leading indicator for how our economy will shape up and grow around the region. And we've already seen how this sort of digital economy can greatly improve and impact economies such as like the U.S. And certain economies in Europe and South Korea. And we can see how that shift is already happening for ourselves in Southeast Asia as more and more of the population becomes digital and immerses themselves into this digital world. So it's a bright future across all spectrums, I think, in ASEAN and in the Philippines. Thank you.
네, 한 지역의 경제가 어떻게 형성되고 성장할 것인지에 대한 선도적 지표가 바로 문화라고 생각하신다는 말씀에 공감합니다. 이것이 바로 우리가 문화와 기술로 함께 성장해야 하는 이유인 것 같습니다. 네, 이제 세션 2의 마지막 발표입니다. 인도네시아의 WIR 그룹의 대표이신 다니엘 수루아님을 만날 차례인데요. WIR 그룹은 2001년 설립 이후에 싱가포르, 태국, 미국, 스페인 등의 20여 개국에 진출한 아시아 최대 증강현실 기업입니다. 전 세계에서 인정받는 인도네시아의 대표 기업으로부터 인도네시아의 VR과 AR 현황과 미래 가능성에 대해서 전해주신다고 하는데요. 지금 다니엘 수루아님 바로 만나보시죠.
Let us hear more from Daniel Surya.
I'm Daniel Surya. I'm the co-founder and executive chairman of WIR Group. It's a company that's good at build AR solution and platform for global market. WIR has been around for 10 years. In fact, it's more than 10 years. And I'm so delighted representing the whole senior management team and management team of the company to be able to present at ASEAN-ROK Culture and Innovation Summit 2021. WIR is basically focusing in delivering the most exciting AR platform from our end. I mean, we definitely started our journey from Indonesia and reaching global market. So we've been able to deliver more than 1,000 plus projects in 20 countries. Uniquely, we do own 5 global PCT patents on AR and its solutions. But the most exciting part is as a matter of fact, we've been able to push interesting accolades to show a few of our interesting milestones and journey. We are 2 years in a row Best Augmented Reality Company campaign by AWT out of Silicon Valley. It was in, I think, 2015, 2016. And also being able to represent our own countries in World Economic Forums back in 2019 and 2020. It was in January 2020. In immersing art, content, and augmented reality, we've been so grateful that we received a few interesting challenges over the years. I think I just picked 4 main interesting projects that can represent the topic today. So our first assignment was basically a project coming from Spain. We worked together with Saldana. Saldana is basically one of the largest kids publishing book in Spain. They wanted the kids that normally read books becoming more interactive digitally, and also at the same time increasing revenue for the company. So what we did was very interesting. We partnered with them and launched the first AR kind of kids book in Spain. So when people buy the book, I mean the parents buy the book, give it to the kids, download the app for free, the kids can experience magic. The second project that I want to kind of share with you all today that lean towards more art, which is the Hendra Gunawan painting. Hendra Gunawan is one of the renowned global painters. He's Indonesian, so this project means something for us, for our country, because this signaled the first AR painting in Southeast Asia. I mean, it is run back 6-7 years ago. I mean, that project kind of helped our company leaping to another kind of different dimension in terms of, wow, AR can do much for a offline world where it combines painting, traffic that comes to the museum, and the whole interactivity that sets totally differently. The third project that also I would say this is kind of a content art and AR on the O2O market that really interests many people, because when Tokopedia, one of the e-commerce giants, came to us and they brought BTS with them, the assignment was very simple. We want to reach Indonesian that has basically less penetration on the internet. As you know, internet penetration in Asia is like 60%, mainly covering the first tier cities or second tier, but the second, the third, fourth tier cities, they kind of still in the midst of getting their internet done, right? So how do they meet BTS? So this is a project that we did for Tokopedia. So as you can see, we brought a big screen, BTS popping up right in front of the big fans and interact with the whole Indonesian. So it's amazing, exciting project that led us to many more projects with similar kind of a concept. But last but not least, I mean, as you all know, the future of AR is not only disrupting kind of a content model, but the one that we believe that also disrupted is the form of screens that we use every day. It could be your handphone screen or television screen, but we believe the future will be frameless. So we are so honored when we got a project together with Microsoft. So Microsoft sent us the first kind of a HoloLens in Indonesia. We worked again with another painter, which is a totally cool painter. His name is Mohtar Sarman. he has this asteroid painting. So this is for the first time back in 2017. We launched the AR glasses painting exhibition in Indonesia. As you can see in the video, the total experience is there. And definitely using glasses, you will get a different experience rather than just phones. So these 4 projects, we believe just a first small milestone for an AR future moving forward. I'm delighted to be able to share more. This will lead basically to a more kind of interesting metaverse of the futures for not only for Indonesia but also for global market.
네, 말씀 감사합니다.
지금은
지금은 우리에게 너무나도 소중한 스마트폰도 기술이 다양해지면 더 이상 사용하지 않는 시대가 오겠죠. 올까요? 정말? 지금은 우리가 무엇인지도 모르는 틀이 없는 기술, 틀이 없는 미래가 금방 찾아올 것만 같은 그런 느낌이 드네요. 다시 한번 좋은 말씀 감사합니다. 자, 이번 순서는 연사분들과 함께하는 라이브 토론 시간입니다. 라이브 토론은 세션의 주제인 기술이 문화예술을 만날 때를 중심으로 진행이 되고요. 또 시청자분들께서 올려주신 질문에 대한 답변으로 진행이 됩니다. 네, 이번에도 정말 많은 분들께서 질문을 남겨주고 계신데요. 우선 연사분들을 먼저 모셔보겠습니다.
Now I would like to introduce you and bring our speakers to the screen.
Hello. Could you please wave to the camera if you could hear me? Yes, everybody can hear me. Hello, hello. So I've prepared some greetings for you. Hello, Mr. Lionel Chok. Nice to meet you.
Hello.
Hello. Nice to see you. And kamusta, Mr. Fussner? Hi, nice to meet you, kamusta. And hello, Mr. Surya.
Hi, hello.
Hello. Okay, first of all, thank you so much for your insightful speeches. Yes. Where many people are joining us live right at this moment, and many people are giving us many feedbacks and questions about the speeches. Thank you so much. 네, 세 분 모두 원활하게 연결된 것 같습니다. 그럼 본격적으로 Q&A 세션, 라이브 토론 시간 시작하겠습니다. 우선 세션 2의 연사분들은 기술과 문화가 융합된 새로운 산업을 개척하고 또 기업 설립을 통해 영역을 확장하신다는 공통점이 있는데요. 우선 공통 질문을 드려보겠습니다. Let me start with a question for all 3 speakers. So how does the audience in your country respond to the new trends and changes integrating culture and technology? Now that culture and technology works together, it comes as one. So my question is, how does the audience in your country respond and react to such changes? Could we hear from Mr. Chok first?
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, thanks for that interesting question. Actually, I think with a lot of creators in this space being excited to create, new works with these digital technologies. This question really shows like audience because usually we don't hear or see from them until they try the experience.
왜냐면 여러 것을 시도해보지
And right
않으면
now,
어떻게 될지
even
알
when
수가
it's
없습니다.
hard to see them at a physical venue, you can't really see their
우리가
expression,
물리적 공간에서
or their
만나서
response to the works.
직접
And most of the
만나거나
time it's online,
청중들의
so it becomes quite
반응을
difficult.
볼 수는
But I think by and large, a lot of
제
things
생각에
that move into the
대략적으로
space, we see that their emotions have changed, even though
우리가
they might
현재
not be totally
물리적
wow,
공간에서
right?
보고 있는
Seeing
것은
something
사람들이
online, we
와우라고
know
하면서
that it's
반응을
work for them
보이는
because
것이나
these works are not evoking like a
무엇에
mundane
흥미있고
face or
흥미가
no experience.
없는지
So I think
그리고 어떤 경험을
while
하고
it's
있는지
difficult
그들의
to
표정을
give
통해서 알 수
full
있다는
answers
사실입니다.
the fact that a lot of these audiences might actually respond by
이런
maybe
청중들은
means of writing a review, then we know that they are actually
리뷰를
excited about
보내는
what they
형태로
have
그들의
experienced.
반응을
But I think
보여줍니다.
on the other hand, when it's online,
반면에
digital,
온라인이나
and
디지털,
going into the metaverse, we are able
메타버스
to reach, as I
환경에서는
mentioned in my presentation, a really
제가
wide
프레젠테이션에
audience.
말씀드린
And from
것처럼
that wide audience,
우리는
allow
매우
somebody
다양한
from
분야의
US,
청중을
from
만나고
London,
있습니다.
you know,
미국이든 런던이든 다양한 나라의 청중들을 온라인 상황에서 만날 수 있게 되었습니다. 예전에 물리적 환경이나
that's really
어느
an
국가에
interesting
왔거나
direction
이런
of
조건에 상관없이
where
다양한
we're going
관중들을
right
만날
now.
수 있는 것이죠.
And hopefully post pandemic we can actually allow
코로나
what we're
19가
doing right now,
종식된
which is
후에는
in-person,
지금 현재 하고
physical, and
있는
also
작업을
online.
계속해서
And then I
흥미롭게
think
이어나갈
new
수
works
있기를
to
바랍니다.
allow our audience base to be international from day one.
그리고 다양한 국가의 청중들을 직접 만나뵐 수 있기를
Yes, thank you,
바랍니다.
Mr. Chok, for your answer. I agree with you that it's really hard to tell what people are feeling by just seeing by communicating with them online. I mean, it's hard to see their emotion. Are they laughing? Are they crying? You don't know what's going on behind the camera, because it's different seeing them offline and online. I completely agree with your answer. Thank you. 네. Mr. Chok께서는 이제 아무래도 좀 어려운 질문이라고 하셨어요. 아무래도 개인의 취향이나 나이, 세대에 따라서 받아들여지는 정도가 다를 수 있기 때문이라고 답변해 주셨는데요. 너무 공감하는 내용이었습니다. 다음은 Mr. Fussner님을 통해서 필리핀 관객들의 반응을 살펴보겠습니다. Next up, can we hear from Mr. Fussner?
Hi. Yeah, thanks for the question.
네, 질문
I think
감사드립니다.
in regards to how the audience are receiving certain technological
요즘 사람들의
innovations in
생각에
regards to
대해서 말씀을 드리자면
the online space, the metaverse,
메타버스나
miniverses.
온라인 상의
I
공간,
would say in the Philippines, everyone is very much in a space of almost a technological leapfrog.
기술적인
And
측면들에
what I mean by that is
많은
that
관심을
people
기울이고
are
있습니다.
ready and willingly
과연
sort of
사람들이 이 모든
adopting
것을 받아들일 수
new
있는가,
technologies as they come.
적응할 수
And I
있는가는
think if
그렇다고 생각이
certain
듭니다.
things like smartphone proliferation was faster,
스마트폰이 빠른
or
속도로
if
폭발적으로
telcos weren't
증가하면서
price
저희
gouging
국가에서는 많은 것들이
consumers,
바뀌고
and data was more affordable,
데이터가
there
훨씬
would be
더
way more technological adoption within the Philippines, and
사용할 수가
definitely
있었기 때문에 이러한 점들을
accelerate
모두 고려했을 때
digital
기술
economy
속도
in
그리고
space.
디지털 경제
But
공간이
during COVID,
더욱더
the silver
활발해질 것이라고
lining
생각합니다.
is that a lot of
또한
because of how we were restricted in the lockdown, which
현재
is still pretty much
코로나19로
going
인해
on right
락다운
now,
조치가 취해지게
we
되면서 많은
saw
제한도 있는 것은
a huge
사실입니다.
uptake and adoption in a lot of digital
그렇기에 기술
applications, especially
적응, 이러한 도입이야말로 중요한
everything from
부분이라고
digital payments to
생각합니다.
streaming services,
스트리밍
and
서비스,
and I think there's something, we have our own little
그
tech
외에도
sort of ecosystem starting to grow and
기술을
develop
통해
homegrown
더욱더
apps
포용적인
that are
방향으로
really
나아가야 된다고 생각합니다.
addressing niche our own cultural sector, which is specific with
여러
niche
문화,
cultural heuristics
를
within the
고려했을 때
Philippines. So
필리핀 내에서
I would say it's very
더욱더 많은 것들이
positive,
일어나기를
and
바랍니다.
a great example recently is
최근
I'm sure everyone,
예시를 한번
especially if you're following the metaverse,
들어보면은
ASEAN-Infinity with the play to earn sort of
메타버스가
gaming
굉장히
model, or play and earn gaming
큰
model, where
주제인데요.
we saw actually a lot of people in the Philippines, actually in Indonesia as well,
필리핀 사람들은
able to make a living playing NFT games,
NFT 게임이라던가 여러 가지
online,
등을
and
통해 수입을
basically
벌
earning
수
digital
있습니다.
currency and then
디지털
converting that into
화폐도 역시
pesos or rupiah.
마찬가지입니다.
And some of these sort of glimmers of the future are
그래서
popping up
미래의
more and more.
모습을 저희가 사실 하나하나씩 지금
nowadays. So
볼
yeah,
수가 있다고
thank you.
생각합니다. 네,
Thank you, Mr. Fussner. It's good to know the situation in the Philippines. It was nice to know the situation over there. 네, Mr. Fussner님께서는 아무래도 일반화하기는 어렵지만 전체적으로 필리핀 분들에게는 이 기술과 문화가 접목된 것에 대해서 굉장히 긍정적인 반응이라고 하셨습니다. 그리고 모든 기술에는 문화가 내재되어 있다고 말씀해 주셨습니다. 네, 다음은 다니엘 수루와님께 여쭤보겠습니다. Mr. Surya, could you answer next?
Well, thank you for the question.
네, 질문해 주셔서 감사합니다. 일반적으로
technology
인도네시아에서
is changing every
기술은
aspect
우리
of our
삶의
lives.
모든 부분을 변화시키고
And the
있습니다.
benefits provided by this kind of
새로운
new
디지털
technology and
접근
digital approaches
방식이
are really having a
제공하는
huge
이점은
impact on our
우리의
societies.
삶에 큰 영향을
we
미치고 있습니다.
experience, starting from e-commerce, logistics,
이커머스에서부터
transportation, payment, so
커뮤니케이션,
forth, right?
유통에까지 모든 부분에
These
영향을
are
미치고
huge,
있죠.
are giving a huge impact to our society. But
우리
again,
사회에도
I
큰
mean,
영향을
however,
주고 있습니다.
one of the greatest
그러나
challenges
기업들이
in our
직면한
market
가장
is,
큰 도전
or in our
과제는
country, is not about
디바이스 소프트웨어 또는 솔루션이 아니라 우리가 어떻게 문화의 변화 과정에 적응하냐입니다. 사실 기술은 우리의 일상생활에 영향을 미치고 문화에도 큰 영향을 줍니다. 따라서 기술은 여행, 음식, 정보 및 예술 등 문화의 모든 부분에 녹아들어 있습니다. 기술은 다른 문화를 형성하고 각각의 차별성을 부여합니다. 서로에게 영향을 미치기도 하고 특히 인도네시아 문화는 더욱더 그렇습니다. 따라서 즉 인터믹스를 가능하게 하죠. 요약해보면 기술의 실현은 기대와 현실을 변화시키며 사회의 가치에 영향을 줍니다. 기술에 대한 지나친 강조는 인도네시아에서 사람들 간의 신뢰 부족 문제를 야기했습니다. 특히 인도네시아에서는 인터넷 침투율이 58%밖에 되지 않고 은행 계좌 보유자가 50%밖에 되지 않기 때문에 더 그렇기도 합니다. 인도네시아에서 또한 기술은 여러 사회 문제의 원인으로 비난받기도 합니다. 그러나 특히 실업이나 그러나 새로운 기회를 창출하고 새로운 환경을 만들어냅니다.
Thank you, Mr. Surya, for sharing the situation in Indonesia. 네, Mr. Surya님께서는 이제 인도네시아에서는 점차 나아가고 있다고 하는데요. 아무래도 인도네시아 어디에서나 기술이 삶에 대부분을 변화시키고 있다라고 말씀해 주셨고요. 또 기술이 실업, 문화 지원 등의 변화로 인해서 때로는 비난을 받기도 하지만 또 새로운 일자리를 창출해내고 또 문화에 영향을 미치는 등 긍정적인 부분도 있다라고 말씀해 주셨습니다. 감사합니다. 네, 이번에는 시청자분들께서 채팅창에 올려주신 질문을 선정해 보겠습니다. This time we will receive questions from our live audience. 네, yes, we're receiving many long questions. Yes, let's see which questions we're gonna ask next. 어디 봅시다. 네, 너무 많은 질문을 올려주셨네요.
Let's see, we have a lot of comments.
기술과 문화 예술의 만남에 대해서 다양하게 이야기를 들려주셨는데요.
Our speakers have shared their
새롭게
views
도전하고
on
싶은 영역은
how our
무엇인지
technology
궁금하다는
and
댓글이
future
있습니다.
culture
여쭤보겠습니다.
Our viewers
So this is a question
which
from a
kind of
live
field you want
audience.
to challenge.
So are there any new platforms or new areas you would like to challenge yourself into regarding culture and technology? Could we hear from Mr. Fussner first?
New platforms.
네, 새로운
I would say
플랫폼.
right now,
현재로서는
I guess for myself personally,
그리고
I've been
저
spending a lot of
개인적인
time on Discord
생각으로는
and just basically like hanging out in chat rooms.
채팅방에서 많은
it's,
시간을
it's I would say
보내고
like
싶기도 합니다.
it's this sort of phenomenon between what we have as
그래서
the clear net, so like the internet where things like
인터넷과
Instagram,
관련해서
Facebook, and stuff like that is like very
페이스북, SNS
indexable,
등과
it's
같은
very
서비스들은
open and public, and then
굉장히
we have
대중들에게
the
공개되어
phenomenon
있는
of like
곳입니다.
the dark forest, and I've been like hanging out in the dark forest a little bit more, where it's like
다크
maybe
포레스트에서
more
그래서 저는 더 많은
private,
시간을 보내고
like
싶습니다.
groups of people
조금
that are
더
connected
개인적인 시간을
over
보내는
some
것을
sort of
저는
common interest,
선호하는데요.
like
그리고
I'm
공동
in some
관심사를 가진
chat
분들과도
rooms that are very
함께하면서
much
채팅을
focused
나누고
on like
싶습니다.
NFT art, some chat rooms that are focused on research, on internet culture,
여러 문화 연구에
and
대한
these sort of like I call
내용이
a friend of
핫탑이기도
mine,
한데요.
Arthur calls them mini verses. So I just been sort of hanging out in these
그래서
like
저는 이와 같은
mini verses in these chat rooms
시간을 굉장히
and
많이
hanging out with people that
보내면서
I don't even know their real
다양한
names, but I know their
분들과
internet
소통을 하고
alias and stuff, and we collaborate on work
즐기고
sometimes, and
있습니다.
sometimes we just talk and share common interests and
그리고
knowledge.
우리는 공동 관심사를 이런 식으로
So would
대화를
that
나누고
be like a
있습니다.
game platform, or that sounds like a very diverse online platform?
So it's like basically like a universe of chat rooms and
네, 채팅방에서 다양한 사람들과 만나서
some of
대화를
these
나눌
chat
수
rooms
있는
are more
곳인데요.
gaming aligned, and then some of them are more like
그리고
art and creative aligned, and then some of these chat rooms are more
일부 채팅방
more tech aligned. It's really up to
여러 가지 분야로
whatever
나뉘어져
interests
있습니다.
you
그래서
have. You'll
여러분들이
find your
어떠한 관심사를
community
가지고
within
있는지에 따라서
within
채팅방에
that
들어가셔서
sort of
대화를
world.
나눌 수 있는
So
것입니다.
it's quite different, I think, from current social media
상당히
dynamic
현
where
SNS
you sort of just post
시스템보다는
stuff and you have
다르다고
those
생각이
interactions on
듭니다.
your post, but in terms of actual meaningful engagement, it's sort
사실
of
실질적으로
I don't know, it's not really
의미
there for me.
있는
So
만남을
I've really been
생각했을
enjoying.
때는
In some
저
ways, I think some
개인적으로는
of
이
the
채팅방이
audience
굉장히
will remember
유익하다고
like
생각했습니다.
old school chat rooms back in the day, and it's sort of in a way going back to this world of like
현
just hanging out
시대가
in different. I
이렇게
think that
다양한
the
방식으로 다른
program's called
사람들과
IRC.
소통하는 것에 집중되어 있다라고
IMMERSIVELY. I don't know if anyone
생각합니다.
remembers that, but yeah. So
I
제
see.
답변 여기까지
Okay,
드리겠습니다.
thank you so much for your comment. 네, Mr. Christopher Fussner님께서는 굉장히
Fussner,
다양한 온라인 플랫폼에 도전하고 싶다고 말씀해 주셨는데요. 그게 게임 플랫폼일 수도 있고 또 채팅창일 수도 있고 또 아직은 없지만 좀 더 다양한 플랫폼들에서 소통할 수 있다라고 말씀해 주셨습니다. 네, 다음은 다니엘 수루아님께 여쭤보겠습니다. Mr. Surya, what are your views regarding to the questions?
Okay, as I and my partners are coming from the AR kind of a background,
제
for us the next
파트너가 가지고 있는
upcoming
경험을
interesting challenges is
해봤을
really
때
to
새롭게
kind of
도전하고 싶은
immersing relevance
영역은
or building relevance into art,
리얼리티
culture, content. As you know, Indonesia
콘텐츠 분야입니다.
has so many different, has rich culture and so many different
인도네시아는 매우 다양한 컬처를
content on
가지고
art,
문화를
culture,
가지고 있기
and
때문에
we try to build relevance
이를
by
통해
combining AR platform, NFT,
다양한
and
플랫폼과
blockchain.
연관지어서
So kind of
다양한 콘텐츠를
emerging
만들 수 있습니다.
the offline cultural artwork
오프라인
to
컨트롤
virtual,
작품과
and making it more
온라인
exciting.
작품을
At the same
융합해서 더
time, we
흥미로운
want
작품을
to be able to
만들어낼
use this
수 있는
platform
것이죠.
to
즉
kind of
플랫폼을
promote
통해서도 흥미로운
Indonesian
작품을
art
작업을
and
할 수
culture
있는
to the global
것입니다.
market in a new way. So
새로운
not using
방식으로
a
작업을 할 수
conventional
있는
way
것이죠.
where offline are pushing and in need of a lot of investment. But
오프라인
we're
방식을
trying to
많은
build this relevance into the
투자를
new virtual world.
필요로 하기 때문에 우리는 약간 새로운 방식을
I
찾고
can't
있는
wait to see
중입니다.
what kind of new virtual world we will be facing in the near future. Thank you so much for your comments, Mr. Surya. 네, 다니엘 수루아님께서는 준비하시는 차세대 빅 이벤트와 메타버스 월드가 있다고 하는데요. 벌써부터 기대가 됩니다. 감사합니다. 네, 다음은 라이오넬 척님께 여쭤보겠습니다. Mr. Chok, could you give us your thoughts on the question?
Yeah, sure. Thanks so much again for panelists for sharing your views as well. But I think the more I listen to the various perspectives and views, I think the more I realize that actually we do have a lot of platforms that many of us are really using or even being introduced to. And I like to subvert the question in more ways than just answer directly, because I don't think it's, the platforms are all encompassing to everybody, be it in Indonesia, Philippines, or Singapore. What I think is missing is the many layers of each platform. For example, last year we had a chance to experiment with a startup company that was trying to build vibration in cloth material for VR. So I think a lot of these layers of platforms are not explored because it doesn't allow different users that are maybe handicapped or visually impaired or even hard of hearing to experience some of these platforms and totally cut them out. So VR, as you know, is very visual. And what if we are able to
비주얼적인
put on
측면을 활용해서 다양한 플랫폼을 체험을 한
T-shirt
것이죠.
that's got the haptic feedback and allow you to experience VR content in some way.
즉 VR
So I
콘텐츠를
think
통해
rather
다양한
than answer
유저
or look at the
익스피리언스를 만들어낼 수
ideas of what
있었습니다.
rising platforms will come in, I think we
제
need to
생각에
look
앞으로
deeper
인기를 많이
into
얻게
the
될
existing ones and see how we
플랫폼은
could dive and spread the
기존에
layers in
있는
between.
플랫폼을
If it's the
활용해서
text, like the
새로운
spot, can
분야로
the
나아가는
spot give
플랫폼이
you
될
other things like
것이라고
Braille so that
생각합니다.
the visual impaired can also take
즉
part as
실제
well.
오프라인
So I think that
기기나
layer
플랫폼을
is
사용해서
something
비주얼
that
관련
love
체험을
to
할 수
see some
있는
of these
것이죠.
platform owners explore so that
저는 이런
the whole
분야의
technology space
경험을 해보고 싶고 완전히 새로운 기술 분야를 체험해보고 싶습니다.
is not just a game for but can include those that are hearing impaired, visual impaired, and everybody else who come into the picture as well.
네, 모두가 기대하는
Thank
경험이
you,
될 것이라
Mr.
생각합니다.
Chok. That sounds like a wonderful idea. Yes. Thank you once again. 네, Mr. Chok께서는 이제 다른
Mr.
나라의
Chok
문화와
said
배경을 엿볼 수 있는 작품을 만들어 보고
He
싶다고
wants to
하셨는데요.
make
굉장히 다양한
projects that
아이디어를
can experience
내주셨네요.
different cultures and different
So,
backgrounds.
you've heard each other's ideas and plans. Do you have any opinions about the answers for each of you, your answer? Do you have any comments you want to add, or perhaps the three of you could do a collaboration together? What do you think about each other's answers, if you have any thoughts? Mr. Fussner?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, what do you think?
I definitely love the universal design or
저
more accessibility
개인적으로는 전반적인
take you have, Lionel, in terms of
답변에
like
대해서
how
동의하는
how do we bring
바입니다.
broader access
그래서 어떻게 해야
to
더 많은
these technologies? Because a lot of
접근성을
times,
통해
I
기술을
think a lot of times
사용할 수
technology
있을지 충분히
is always
생각해볼 만한
designed with like
것들입니다.
youth in mind. But then like what about like the age, older people or
근데
people that
이제
can't
노인분들을
have some sort of
고려했을
difficulty,
때는 이러한 기술이 다소
accessing
문제가
certain
있을 수도
senses.
있겠습니다. 접근성 부분에서 말이죠.
So yeah, I thought that was a really
그래서
nice take on
네, 전반적으로
or I
답변
guess critique in terms of
잘 들었으며
upcoming platforms, current platforms.
Yes, I agree with
좋다고
Mr.
생각합니다.
Fussner that Mr. Chok, the idea, the fact that you're trying to reach out to more people with culture and technology, I think that's beautiful. What about Mr. Surya? What do you think about other speakers' plans and ideas?
I think it's totally great. I think one of the assets that I got from both the
네,
speakers
답변 드리겠습니다.
the relevance because technology has to be
네,
human-centered
오늘 연사분들이 제시해 주신
and has to
다양한
connect beyond just
분야에 대해서
a certain
관심이
age of group.
많이 갑니다.
And what
특정
Lionel mentioned
분야의
and Chris
특정
also mentioned,
그룹만
I think it
타겟으로
creates a
고객
possibility
대상으로
and great
삼는 것이
opportunity
아니라
to do a
다양한
global collaborations.
배경과 다양한 분야의
Yes,
사람들에게
thank you.
다가가야 한다고
Mr. Chok, would you
생각합니다.
like to add on?
Yes, thanks for that. I mean to add
네, 제
on
의견을
to my previous
말씀드리겠습니다.
sharing, we also understand and see that mobile is not going to go away, right?
모바일
Everybody that has
기반의
it now
프로젝트가
has
많이
one,
등장하고
and
있는 것을
many
알고
of the
있습니다.
countries
많은
in the entire Asia, I would say,
국가들은
are doing more
인도나
things on the
태국이나
mobile, and I know many
인도네시아
countries don't
같은
even use laptops now
국가들에서
in their
모바일
work
사용이
and,
어려운
in their
경우가
lives.
많습니다.
But I think with the mobile also
그러나
comes with a lot of opportunities as well.
모바일이
I mean, if there were 5-6 people that
있다면 더 많은
created
기회가 주어질 수 있을 것이라고 생각합니다.
with
사람들이
NFC, for example, they could come
실시간으로
together
채팅을
in a
하거나
private setting or in a park and take part in their own exhibition of mobile
가상의
creation.
공간에서
And then
전시를
create the
보거나 이런 여러
canvas for
기회가
mobile
주어지게 되는 것이죠.
individual exhibition works. So I think the power
개인들이 모바일
is
전시회에
needs to
자신의
come
작품을
into
전시하게 될 수도
users
있을
and
것이라고
this.
생각합니다.
And not saying this just because the museums and galleries are,
물론
no
모든
longer
경험이 다
important. They
같지는
are, but I think
않겠지만
with so many ideas, there are big ideas that would
정말
definitely work
하고자
in
하는
gallery, but there are also
다양하고 많은
small ideas that will
아이디어가
pop among
있기
small
때문에
groups of
가능할
people
것이라
mobile.
생각합니다.
And that will
그런
allow people to
아이디어를
just join
모바일
you because you're holding
환경에서
a mobile in a park, you see a stranger,
실현시키게
you're like, hey, you want
된다면
to check out my work, and then validate from there. take that
많은
to the gallery
경험을
and say,
나누고
I sat in the park for one weekend, 100 people came to see that
공유할
work.
수 있을 것이라고
I
생각합니다.
think there was many of these explorations that can be
이런
considered
부분에서
with
영감을
devices that
많이
are
얻을
closer and
수
closer
있을 거라
to
생각하고
what we use every day.
많은 기기를 활용할 수 있을
Yes,
될
thank
것이라
you, Mr. Chok,
생각합니다.
for your profound answer. 네, 여러분 벌써 마지막 질문입니다. 네,
Right,
앞으로 한
moving on
아세안이
to our
함께하는
final
미래,
question.
어떤 새로운
In the
상상을
near
하고
future,
계신지
let's
들어보겠습니다.
hear about what our
So this
speakers
is
think.
the last question. If ASEAN and ROK, if ASEAN ROK gets to engage more actively in the future, what kind of new collaborations would you like to work on together? Could we start with Mr. Surya this time?
Okay. Well, okay. I would love to definitely have a close global collaboration,
저는
especially with maybe
다양한
Chris and
콜라보를
Lionel.
해보고 싶습니다. 특히
But also with the
라이오넬
next
연사와
gen
해보고
content, right?
싶습니다.
The content developers, tech players, futurists that has envisioned
저는
shaping this cultural
미래지향적이고
exchange
오프라인 공간을 뛰어넘는
without borders.
문화 교류를
Looking
만들고자
forward
하는
to,
비전을 가진
to
분들과
to
같이
connect.
일하고 싶습니다. 국경에
That's what I'm
상관없이
expecting and what
글로벌
kind
협업을
of
할
work
수
that I'm
있는 분을 찾고 있습니다.
in more detail. I have still not formulated, but looking at more a kind of a collaboration.
이렇게 하면 더
Wow,
많은
thank
협력을
you
할 수
so
있을
much for your
것이라
answer.
생각합니다.
네, 다니엘 수로아님께서는 국경의 경계 없이 문화 교류에 대해 동일한
Right.
비전을
Daniel
가지고
Surya said
협력하고
that he
싶다라고
wishes
말씀해
to go for
주셨습니다.
cultural exchanges,
네,
no
다음으로는
matter what.
라이오넬
Next,
촉님께
we'll be hearing
여쭤보겠습니다.
from Lionel
Mr.
Chok.
Chok, could you share your thoughts, please?
Oh yeah, sure. I think the ASEAN-ROK really has been an eye-opening
네,
platform
답변
to
드리겠습니다.
hear and listen from so many artists from so many
많은
countries.
아티스트들이 참여하고
I
싶어하는
don't normally have this kind of
훌륭한
opportunity. Just sharing
플랫폼이
the panel itself was very eye-opening.
있습니다. 그러나 참여 기회가 많지
And I think
않을 때도
beyond
있습니다.
just an event like this, imagine new artists coming out from school or in school and trying to find a way to start.
다양한 장소에서 협업을 하고 싶어 한다면 이런 기회를 찾을 수 있을 것이라 생각합니다.
Sorry, was I muted?
네, 연결이 잠깐
yeah,
끊어진 것 같습니다.
so
죄송합니다.
was I muted? I can go again.
Oh yes, sorry, there was
진행해도
some kind of lag with due to the network.
Yeah, no problem.
Yes.
So I wanted to share again that this summit has been an eye-opener because I was able to see and
다양한
hear a
경험을
lot of
통해
the
눈이
happenings
확대게
from
되는
different
경험을
countries and different
할 수 있을
panelists.
것입니다. 즉 다양한
And basically
배경과
provided
다양한
a
문화를
lot of
가진
ideas,
사람들과 협업을
imagine,
하면
that could
이런
be
기회가
actually passed down and introduced
늘어날
to new
것이라고
creators. And I
생각합니다.
always have a thing for new or young, artists that's coming into the picture.
저는
Maybe
미래를
they have
그리고
an
있는
opportunity to
아티스트들과
touch base with their
작업하기를 원하고
university
있습니다.
lecturers or the artists in their own location. But imagine having this chance to see a lot of works across different countries.
여러분이
So I
다양한
think
국가의
if there was a
아티스트들과 협업을
channel
해보는
whereby
상황을 가정해
has
본다면
always been a way for sort of a channel to
여러
allow different
채널을
artists to come
통해서
onto either
하면
website or
협업이
chat room and
더
allow different
쉬워질
artists
것이라는
to ask
것을 예상하실
questions.
수 있을
It
겁니다.
could be a 15-year-old that says, I just discovered
한국에서는
VR,
다양한
what do I do
국가에서
next?
협업이
I think a lot of
가능하게
these
되어지는
channels will
것이죠.
allow new, fresh young talents to
이를 통해
start. But we also know that young talents have a lot of channels.
다양한
And
젊은
if there was a
재능
way
가진
to
인재들을
introduce this
발굴할 수
across
있을 것이라
ages,
생각합니다.
and start to introduce 50-year-old, 60-year-old, who are definitely not too
그리고
late to
젊은
explore
그리고
maybe
50,
AR
60대가
art,
되어도
then
작품
at
활동을
least
시작하는
we'll be
것이
able
절대
to
늦은 것은
allow them to
아닙니다.
see that
기회는
barriers
많이
to
있습니다.
getting started is much lower because there are a lot of these panelists or even
여러
artists from around the
이벤트와
region
여러
just giving them a
아티스트들이
hand.
함께 할 수 있기 때문입니다.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chok. I'm sure many young talents would be eager to have you as their mentor. Thank you. 네, Mr. Chok께서는 AR과
네,
VR 분야에서 신인 아티스트들의 멘토로
of
참여하고
AR
싶다라고
and
말씀해 주셨는데요.
Mr. Surya
굉장히 흥미로운
emphasized how
대답이었습니다.
things will be
감사합니다.
spiced up. Thank you very much
네,
for your
마지막으로는
invaluable
크리스토
comments.
퍼스너님께
Last but not least,
여쭤보겠습니다.
Mr. Christopher
Next up,
Fussner.
can we hear from Mr. Fussner?
Hi. Yeah, I
네,
would
답변
definitely
드리겠습니다.
enjoy some sort of transdisciplinary residency program on
현재 저는
Jeju
다양한
Island
프로그램에
with Daniel
관심을
and
기울이고 있습니다.
Lionel or something like
다니엘님과
that.
On
리오넬님과
But
Jeju Island?
on a more serious note, it would be great to have something more like cross interdisciplinary, especially in relation to fintech and relation to the finance aspect of these digital economies in the creator economies. Because it's great. We have all these amazing technologies, but I really think one of the biggest missing puzzles here is how do artists, designers, and musicians and creatives or just content creators get paid in an equitable way going forward? And I think we've already seen some breakthroughs in that with recent streaming platforms and things like Patreon and stuff. But I really think that's something that would be really interesting to have, fintech, wallet, payment processing people, and then you have artists and creative platform people in the same room and sort of discussing, I guess, digital economy and how to unlock that going forward.
Thank you, Mr. Fussner, for your comment. What was it with the Jeju Island part? Could you repeat that part? Yes, I would love to hear it once again.
Maybe a residency in the summertime in Jeju Island with Daniel, Lionel. We do a ASEAN-ROK conference there. That would be really nice.
A conference there. Wow.
Yeah, to invite everyone. Yeah, I mean the metaverse is nice, Zoom is nice, but it'd be cool to meet in real life.
I see. Yeah. That's very interesting. Thank you so much for your comment.
I think Chris just wants to travel again.
네, 크리스토퍼 퍼스너님께서 다양한 이야기를 해주셨는데요. 그 중에서 기억에 남았던 거는 이제 제주도에 가서 이제 세 분 연사분들과 함께 좋은 시간을 보내고 싶다라고도 말씀해주셨고요. 또 다양한 문화, 다양한 언어를 사용하는 사람들과 더 다양한, 더 활발한 활동, 더 활발한 협업을 하고 싶다라고 말씀해주셨습니다. Thank you so much, all of you, for your wonderful speeches, and I thank you so much for taking the time to do this live meeting with us. Thank you so much, and goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Hope to see you soon again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. 네, 기술의 문화예술 전목하여 새로운 시장을 선도하고 계신 세 분의 의견 너무나도 잘 들었습니다. 아쉽지만 시간 관계상 세션 2의 라이브 토론은 여기서 마무리했는데요. 네, 함께하게 돼서 정말 영광이었습니다. 정말 감사합니다. 네, 지금까지 문화와 기술을 결합해서 새로운 창작물을 만들고 또 각국의 문화를 소개하는 한-아세안 아티스트분들과 CEO분들과 함께했습니다. 네, 문화와 기술로 함께 성장하는 한-아세안의 미래 가능성을 확인할 수 있는 시간이었습니다. 무엇보다 함께 성장하기 위해서는 지속적인 교류와 협력이 가장 중요하다는 생각이 들었습니다.
짜잔!
버블리, 어서 와요.
네, AI 아바타로서 너무너무 유익한 시간이었어요. 그렇다면 이번 세션은 제가 소개해도 될까요?
당연하죠. 버블리 해주세요.
마이크 테스트. 세션 3의 주제는 한-아세안 문화와 기술 교류의 현재와 미래입니다. 지금도 우리는 많은 교류를 하고 있는데요. 지속적인 교류로 함께 만들어갈 우리의 미래는 어떤 모습일지 만나볼까요?
Kepelbagaian budaya akan dapat dipupuk sekiranya identiti setiap negara dihormati. Kitalah yang memimpin untuk memperkasakan komuniti kebudayaan ini.
Ketika budaya dan teknologi Korea ASEAN bertemu, bukankah budaya ASEAN yang unik akan lahir?
ရှင်ကျင်းမှုဖလှယ်ခြင်းနဲ့တိဆောက်ထားတဲ့အနာဂတ်ကိုသိကျင်ပါတယ်။အနာဂတ်ဆိုတာတူလိုလိုရောက်ရှိလာခြင်းမဟုတ်ဘဲတိဆောက်ထားခြင်းကြောင့်ဖြစ်ပါတယ်။
Kung patuloy ang ating pagsisikap at pakikipagtulungan gamit ang kultura, siguradong maipapakita natin ang aking kagandahan ng bawat isa.
Saya berharap bahawa gabungan di antara teknologi dengan karya seni yang berkualiti tinggi akan mewujudkan sinergi yang terbaik di antara budaya Korea ASEAN.
ရှေ့ဆက်ပြီးကျွန်တော်တို့အတွက်တည်တံ့ဖြစ်တဲ့ယဉ်ကျေးမှုတရက်ပေါ်ပေါက်လာမှာကိုရှင်ခုံမိပါတယ်။ဒါမျိုးဆက်သစ်တွေပူးပေါင်းဆောင်ရွက်ခြင်းကိစ္စတွေမှာအခြေခံဖြစ်ဖို့မျှော်လင့်ပါတယ်။
A community of people, peace and prosperity to enter the larger world. Korea ASEAN Cultural Revolution, fighting.
아세아만의 특별한 문화 기술으로 세계를 놀라게 하고 싶습니다. 여러분도 아시아 문화의 시대를 이끌어갈 준비 됐나요?
Pertukaran budaya adalah satu aktiviti yang berperanan untuk saling memahami dan mengenali persamaan antara kita ni. Kini saya berharap bahawa pertukaran budaya Korea ASEAN ini akan diiktiraf oleh seluruh dunia.
Trong tương lai, tôi muốn cho cả thế giới thấy được sức mạnh độc đáo của mối quan hệ giữa ASEAN và Hàn Quốc, cùng nhau phát triển thông qua văn hóa và công nghệ.
ถ้าเขาเปลี่ยนทัศนคติของตัวเองเขาจะเห็นถึงการเปลี่ยนแปลงใหม่ๆและผู้นำที่จะไปสู่การปฏิรูปวัฒนธรรมเกาหลีอาเซียนจุดศูนย์กลางของวัฒนธรรมโลกแมนเฮาเอง